What's going on, everyone? Ryan Ripken here. Welcome back to the channel. But I wanted to actually do a video here about Shintaro Fujinami because, let's face it, really polarizing pitcher for so many people. But I do understand the ups and downs, and I do understand that Fujinami has great ability, but there is inconsistency. So today I tweeted out for Shintaro Fujinami, which I thought was a fascinating stat. Maybe it's a Houston Astros problem. A lot of people struggle playing Houston too, by the way. It's not just Shintaro Fujinami, but in his 3 appearances as a Baltimore Oriole against the Houston Astros, Fuji's gone 1 1/3 innings, 3 hits, 7 earned runs, 5 walks, 0 Ks. Yes, you read that correctly. 0 Ks and a 47.25 ERA. Whammy, that's not ideal. But here's the kicker. Versus everyone else he's faced as a Baltimore Oriole, he's gone 26 1/3 innings, 17 hits, 8 earned runs, 8 walks, and 31 strikeouts en route to a 2.73 ERA. And if we wanted to take it one step further here, okay, because that's what we always try to do. Now, the other tweet I put out, because the question was, well, what are Fuji stats when he enters the game, when the game is within 1 or 2 runs? Well, that's considered whether it's late in the game or the score is close. And that means it's a 1 or 2 run game, or the tying run is at the plate, or there's an ability to tie the game that's going on while he is pitching. And to be honest, his numbers, again, are better than you think. Minus the Astros, again, that's already documented. But Fuji's gone 10 1/3 innings, 4 hits, 3 earned runs, 4 walks, 13 Ks, 2 saves, and a 2.61 ERA. So again, I think that a lot of people get fixated with Fuji because of the fact that he's had these up and down moments. And when it has been his struggles, people are very critical. And I understand the Orioles are in a playoff postseason push to make the World Series. That's their ultimate goal, right? Finish and win the division. To be honest, he's been way better than people expect. But let's talk about why things haven't gone as well for Fuji. And I actually put documented here first that outing against Houston where he walked 2 straight batters. Or I'm sorry, he walked 2 of the first 3 hitters in the game. Let's go take a look at this. So I want to start here. This is the beginning of the inning. Yordan Alvarez. It's the 8th inning. O's up 1-0, no outs, and Alvarez is hitting. And so you're going to see from the beginning here, and I'm going to try to break it down slowly. But Fuji's trying to get ahead with his fastball, just like every pitcher wants to do. And he misses low, 99 miles an hour. You can tell that his arm has some life to it, which is great. Second pitch, same thing. So this is where people get a little bit more fixated with Fuji, is the fact that you come in, you're not able to throw strikes, right? Especially understanding that you're facing one of the most dangerous hitters. I know Alvarez has had his ups and downs, but he's still one of the best hitters in all of Major League Baseball. So you get down 2-0 and you're afraid to make a mistake, and your fastball command isn't there. So Adley calls for a splitter here away. Not a bad call to make. And as we're going to see, Fuji just misses off the plate. Very close pitch. Great take by Alvarez. Now he's in the driver's seat. And more than likely now he's taking, which he does. And you can just see Fuji is having trouble locating with his fastball right now. All right, moving into the next hitter. Fuji tries to lead off with it says it's a cutter, but it really looks to me more like a slider. And then it ends up backing up on him. And again, this is where I think people get caught up with Fuji, is that it feels like his stuff gets stuck. Before we get into the next pitch, it's almost like with his slider, he's trying to throw it too hard and he's not letting the pitch do the work itself. It might just be that when he doesn't find his fastball early, he then tries to do a little bit too much. So yes, maybe you can say it's nerves, or maybe you can just say, as everything you do in life, especially as a pitcher, you're trying to do too much. You're trying to throw the perfect pitch when you don't need to do that. So he falls behind 2-0. Then you got to come here. And as you can see, an elevated fastball right there by Fuji is so hard to hit. And that's why even on a 2-0 count, where you can take a more aggressive approach if you're a batter, and that's what you saw right there with Singleton, but he still was late on it. The next pitch, splitter, which I think he kind of gets away with because, look, that pitch is up. And that's something that Singleton actually had a good swing, and that's something where it can be in damage. Personally, I would have been okay with him throwing another fastball, challenge him up top, but I understand the thought process there. But they get the out. Okay, so you're thinking this is what gets you back on track, right? Well, now you have Jose Altuve at the plate. And Fuji, just like against Alvarez, To me, right here, it feels like Fuji's trying to be a little bit too careful because of Altuve's presence and what he's capable of doing. And again, slider after slider after slider, and it just doesn't look like Fuji was able to feel comfortable to find the zone. And then he has to come with a heater. I think in that last sequence, I would have liked to see him throw a heater because clearly none of his pitches on the day were going for strikes. I think my biggest takeaway I have from that sequence with them is that Fuji went three straight off speed pitches and then tried to come back to the heater to Altuve. And coincidentally, in this sequence, that's the first right-handed batter that Fujinami saw in this outing. Maybe preferably, I wouldn't have minded seeing Fuji challenge Altuve with the heater there, just because it seemed like he had his arm side run missing to the right side or the right-handed hitters when he's throwing to lefties. Maybe then once you get down 2-0, trust your fastball, try to make it work. I do understand the thought process of trying to land a breaking ball, but it's a little bit more challenging when you don't have a feel for that pitch. And clearly, that outing right there is not going to do it. The Orioles end up losing this game 2-1 in the ninth. And this is where everyone gets fixated, going, we can't trust Fuji in this moment, in this opportunity. Now, I want to show you this save opportunity he had in extra innings against the Angels. And yes, you might say, well, it's the Angels, Ryan. It doesn't really matter. Well, guess what? This is a high leverage situation. Pressure's on. The Orioles, we're talking about you need to win games. Well, you have the tying run on second base in extra innings. And first pitch, Fuji misses for a fastball away. Okay, so what? But what I love about Fuji in all of this sequence, he challenges again with the heater, pops it up, and actually hits it pretty well, Escobar. It's going to allow the runner to tag up and get to third base. So now the tying run is on third base with one out. This is where the fun Fuji is right here. This is the dominating part of him. First pitch, fastball perfectly on the black. Next pitch, why don't you go a little bit higher away, swings right through it. And now you're up 0-2. And you can see even his delivery and presence, he is way more confident with his stuff. Again, like the idea, fastball again, elevate a fastball, missed away. And then another heater because let's face it, 100 is really hard to heat, and especially with the rise that Fuji has. Now you got two outs. Now, this is probably my favorite sequence. This is what we call good morning, good afternoon, and good night. First pitch, strike. Second pitch, splitter, fools him, strike two. Now it's 0-2. You can feel the momentum, and Fuji gets him right here. He checks his swing too far, and the Orioles walk out of there with the victory. So my point with all of this is that you don't have to always trust Fujinami, but why you think he couldn't be successful or helpful to this team, that's the part where I get tricked. And I think if people get so caught up with the fact that he is a little bit erratic, he does have inconsistent moments, but overall, for some reason, he doesn't feel comfortable when he pitches against Houston. But what you just saw in that Angels game and against the other teams he's faced, he is a lot more in control. He feels a lot more stable. Maybe it's the lineup that Houston has that gives him trouble, but clearly Fujinami, when he is on, can be as dominant as any pitcher.